All right, that intro scene ready to go. Oh, hang on. I did forget to do that. Let's see. All right, let's do this in 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for February 5th, 2025. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Nintendo says Switch 2 will have a price, so you can stop worrying about that, everybody. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host, the Game Mess Mornings. It's Lucy James. Games, everyone. How's it going, Lucy?
Doing okay, thank you. In the middle of decorating. How obvious is it that I ran out of wallpaper?
It's you know what? I actually can't tell. It looks like it could be on purpose. I'm legitimately not. That's probably just on cam. If I was there, I'm sure it would look terrible, Lucy. Is that what you want me to say? Oh, there it is. Okay.
There it is. No, I'm other than a slight cold, I'm doing okay, thank you. Yeah, it's been really cold in the Bay recently, and I mean, I know it's not very cold by rest of the world standards, but in California, everyone is fuming, well, because they're so chilly.
Yeah, I mean, and let's be clear, the homes where you're at are not built for variations in temperature. They're built for one temperature because that's traditionally what it's always been. So, yeah, I
70 degrees.
Yep. Not a lot of insulation, 70. Not a lot of air conditioning. So, yeah, that could be rough. Yeah. We're doing okay here now, although I think this is the way it's worked recently, where Dan will complain about how cold it is, and then 2 days later, it's that cold here. So yesterday it was like 6 degrees at his house. I'm like, it's like 40 here now. That's great. And I think it's going down to his temperature again. So turns out weather just moves that way. But I'm like, hey, I'm fine. The kids are starting to feel a little bit better. I'm going to still keep going outside. I'll just bundle up because it's been too long of not really going outside. This has been a rough winter. So going to do that.
Have you got a sauna? You know, you could be like the Finns and have a sauna.
That's a really good
idea. There's a lot on Facebook Marketplace over here for some reason.
So were they just like portable ones? Like what are what's on? Okay, interesting.
So you can get some that are, basically like a tent, and you can move pop-up tent, but you can get like kind of a built
one. I have been in one of those tent ones in Dan Reichert's basement, and I had to try to beat Super Mario Brothers 3 while in there, and that was unpleasant actually because I was clothed and I almost unplugged my headphones there.
I was gonna say you could, that was a traumatic experience. You could, take back control of
face the demons.
Face the demons in heat and what's the word when it's like really humidity. Yes. But it'd be great for your pores.
That's right.
Great for getting out any gunk.
That's right. Yeah. I was just sweat when I was done in there, and my clothes were a mess. I probably should not have done that. But and it was very fun because it was very humid. Dan gave me his worst Chinese handheld to go in there because that thing has to have been destroyed because it was just so wet by the time I was done.
Oh my God.
Rough in there. All right, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Nintendo confirms timings for the Switch 2 Direct in April. This is from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. Nintendo has provided a smidge more information regarding its upcoming Nintendo Direct in April, focused entirely on the much-anticipated Switch 2 console. Scheduled to commence on the 2nd of April, which we already knew. We now know that it will be broadcasted at the following times. In North America, 6 a.m. Pacific Daylight Savings. That's not right. That's got to be still standard time at that point.
I was gonna say,
yeah, 6 a.m.
and I will also be enjoying that at a reasonable hour of 9 a.m. instead
Yes.
of 6 a.m. Grow up, Nintendo.
Yep, come on. Yeah, 6 a.m. So, Jan, I don't know. You could just sleep through it. We'll be fine. We can handle that. And then 9 a.m. Eastern. And then in the UK, that's 2 p.m. BST, a real time, I'm sure. Throughout the rest of Europe, 3
British
p.m.
summertime.
Yeah, British summertime. There, that sounds real. I think this is Central European summertime, 3 p.m. there.
CEST, yeah.
Yeah. Although, again, I don't think summertime would have started by then. Asia, Oceania will be 10 p.m. JST, and your local time, it's just there's the whole thing here that I'm going to read that apparently because it only applies to me. It would be 9 a.m. my time. That's what really matters, everybody. This is just like slightly more information, although I'm like surprised. It's like, why'd they wait to tell us this? And then also, why tell us this early if you weren't going to tell us like originally in that video where you announced this was happening on April 2nd? But whatever, that's just Nintendo being a little strange. I'm like still not sure like how to set my expectations for this thing other than, hey, I hope they show me all of my dreams. Show me all the games that I want to see, as well as like all the kind of obvious stuff. Like, hey, a 3D Mario. You already talked about a new Mario Kart. Animal Crossing, you just talked about how well that sold. So probably another one of those pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like beginning to build probably an impossible list in my brain, Lucy. I don't know. Where should I be setting my expectations?
I love that you said, I'm gonna set my expectations, but I need them to give me everything I've ever dreamed of.
Exactly. Yes, I'm a broken person.
I don't know. I mean, I think this has potential to be pretty big. You know, it feels like they've been cooking for a while. New console, Switch finally on the decline. Didn't meet its expectations. They need to kind of stir up some excitement. And if GTA slips, it's gonna be Nintendo's year, right? Like, so I think they have the chance to go all out with this. I really hope they do, because I mean, even from that first look at the hardware, I'm not particularly excited about what I've seen so far. Yeah. Shuhei Yoshida said the other day something about like the rumored mouse part of it, and so I'm interested to see what that's going to be. But I don't know. Feels like it's been so long since we had a new console and that new exciting slate moment. So I really hope they go all out with it. I really hope that like Metroid gets a date, and I'm trying to think because like I said, I've never been the biggest Nintendo person just purely because I didn't grow up with it.
Right.
So while I love Nintendo games, I don't have the same connection. And so I think the thing that would excite me most at the moment, certainly not third party, but I do think a new 3D Mario, because I was obsessed with Odyssey when it came out.
That's
and yeah, I think Animal Crossing was such a moment. I didn't expect to get into it as much as I did. And then that obsession carried over to Dondoko Island in Yakuza. So I don't know. I'm just hoping for some good stuff. I am really intrigued to see. I mean, maybe this is where Hollow Knight shows up.
Yep, there's a possibility. Yeah, there is that rumored, unconfirmed, and maybe a little bit weird now because they are talking about the timing more of this direct. But apparently they're going to have a direct this month. I've heard that as well, and this would be focused on Switch 1 games, and that's probably where they could give us the date for Metroid Prime 4. People keep pointing out to me that when they open up their Switch and go to the eShop, or like the little news page that before you actually click into to fully open your Switch, they'll see stuff like, hey, Metroid Prime 4, a Switch 1 game still coming, it being marketed there. So Nintendo still very much treating that as a Switch 1 game. So we could get more information about that here in February. But yeah, like it does feel like, okay, well, if that's happening, why are you talking so much about this April one when you could have just like waited? Honestly, they could have announced the timing for this one at the end of a February direct. So it just feels a little strange to me. Yeah. But it's Nintendo, so it's like trying to figure this out is pointless. They are a weird company, and they will do things their own way. Speaking of which, Switch 2 price will consider the affordability customers expect from Nintendo, says President. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. The price of the Switch 2 hardware will take into account numerous factors, including Nintendo's trademark affordability, its president has said. During a Q&A following Nintendo's Q3 financial results, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa was asked about the company's thoughts on hardware pricing. Specifically, Furukawa was asked if there was any chance any change to Nintendo's stance on what constitutes an acceptable price point given various global economic factors. Furukawa replied that not only does Nintendo have to take into account Japan's increased inflation rate, it also has to consider the exchange rate environment has changed considerably since the Switch launched in 2017. However, he noted that Nintendo has to consider the affordability that our customers expect from Nintendo products, saying that the company needs to take all these factors into account when considering the price of its products. This is still the main thing that people are now focused on since we had everything confirmed about the hardware, and we know that there's a date to talk about all the software and all the stuff after that, and that's probably where they'll talk about the price as well. But the price is like just going to be a point of contention. People, it's hard to spend $400 to $500 on something, and so people are thinking about that right now and trying to like dial in where they think this thing is going to land. And Lucy, I think I've been kind of at a point where it's like, I think this thing is going to be $400 for quite some time. And I think this mostly convinces me of that. Although, I mean, people are saying, hey, maybe 350 still like the OLED. And then, of course, it could be more as well. I don't know. Where are you at? Does any of this change like what you're expecting?
I honestly don't think it does. I think really proof is going to be in the pudding when it comes to pricing, because we can speculate all we want, but as we know, we are living in unprecedented times.
Oh, again?
I don't know about you, man, but I'm kind of fed up of how unprecedented these times are becoming.
Yep.
Are there going to be tariffs by then? They're not going to be tariffs by then. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let's not bring the mood down. However, let's just talk about the fact that, I mean, things are subject to change. They're probably finalizing that stuff on their end too. Yep. I think this is the point where I think I've made it on this show, if not another show before, where it's like, I am less excited about the box. If the box is what I feel is going to be a reasonable price, because it's the software that I am the most interested in. So if Nintendo comes out with a compelling enough slate of games that I want to play and can only play on Switch 2, then that is ultimately the thing that I take into consideration when I am making my purchasing decisions. Because right now, I mean, I'm sorry, Nintendo fans, my Switch is gathering dust because I'm in my PC era, and I do want to be able to, I want to go back to the heyday of, I remember when, we were all locked indoors in Animal Crossing, and I was in multiple Discords and group chats, and then the other thing would be like, when Tears of the Kingdom came around, me and my friend Andrew went around to Tam's place, and Tam was playing on the TV. Andrew and I both handheld, and we're all just playing Tears of the Kingdom together. And it's like, I want those moments again. So I'm excited. But again, this feeds into like the first one where it's, the first story where it's, I need to know what games they've got.
Yep.
What you got for me?
Yeah, I think people have a much easier time justifying $400 to $500 if there are just games you can't possibly miss out on. And I think I am most curious about that as well, because I think it is very easy for Nintendo to look at, hey, here's what sold well on the Switch. Let's just do the new versions of those and not have a lot of stuff that's new and exciting.
Meet the new Switch.
Yes.
Same as the old Switch.
Yes. And that's, I think there's going to be quite a bit of potential for that to happen. They are already like starting off with Mario Kart, but maybe there's a gimmick to Mario Kart that we don't know about. And
24 players.
Yeah, 24 players, right, exactly. And then maybe a new Animal Crossing is a big expansion to the idea of what Animal Crossing could be. I don't know, but I imagine mostly it's going to be like, here's the Breath of the Wild remaster that we've been showing off to developers. And here's a lot of like filling in the slots of like, here's this franchise on this console that will just sell for the entire generation. And then maybe like there are some surprises like Mario Paint or something along those lines. But I think Nintendo understands that surprise and delight coming to people and like giving them an experience they didn't know they wanted is important and crucial to making the Switch feel special, and they'll want to recreate that with the Switch 2 as best they can. And I'm sure they've been spending years figuring out what that looks like. As far as like for them dialing in a price themselves, I think you're right. They're still finalizing that. It's not finalized yet. They're still finalizing that because of the uncertainty of the world. And I think that will probably lead them to leaning towards a slightly higher price than they might have gone with otherwise, just so they can bake in that uncertainty. Will there be tariffs? Will there? Well, that doesn't matter. They don't know. They can't like just on a whim every time something crazy happens in the world change the price of the Switch 2. So they sort of have to try to guess what things are going to look like, and it's probably safest to go with a worst case scenario assumption. And so yeah, I think they probably still lean towards something that can be argued to be affordable while still being relatively high priced. At this point, though,
Yeah.
I'm not expecting it to be $500, but hey, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, let's see here. EA had their financial results. We talked about Nintendo's yesterday on the Bombcast, but EA had theirs as well and said that they were not the financial performance we wanted or expected. This comes from Sophie McAvoy at GI.biz. Electronic Arts has published its financial results for the third quarter of fiscal year 25, experiencing declines in revenue and net bookings. CEO Andrew Wilson said it was not the financial performance we wanted, which was driven by the temporary underperformance of EA Sports FC 25. So only temporary. They're going to make more money in the future. Don't worry, everybody. EA pre-announced its Q3 results last month, in which it revisited its full year and third year guidance due to two factors. Two of its franchises, EA Sports FC and Dragon Age not meeting financial expectation. Here's what you need to know: the revenue was down 3% to 1.88 billion. Net income was up 1% to 293 million, and then net bookings, which is just like any business that they've been able to like get a contract for that will come in at some point in the future, was down 6% to 2.22 billion. Highlights: EA Sports FC 25 experienced a high quality, stable launch, but it did not carry its momentum through the quarter. And that's the biggest culprit here for why EA missed its targets. But they also point out Apex Legends was down, although that was down within its expected range. But now they're also kind of changing up their story on that a little bit, and we'll talk about that more here in a moment. And then, of course, Dragon Age: The Veilguard also underperformed. I think this came up several times when we were looking at those Nintendo numbers, Lucy. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in the last 3 months of the year sold 2 million copies. And according to EA, Dragon Age: The Veilguard, a multi-platform release, had 1.5 million players. So it's kind of puts into perspective how something that big and important can miss the mark pretty hard. And when we talk about what those are unfair expectations, it seems like those should have been pretty fair expectations for Dragon Age, and they just could not get a broad community, a broad audience excited about it, which is what Andrew Wilson said. They are promising to double down on here actually, I'll just read what CFO Stuart Canfield said. The importance of our actions, or this reinforces the importance of our actions to reallocate resources towards our most significant and highest potential opportunities. So they're once again just saying, hey, we are going to hunker down and really focus on the stuff that we think can be the biggest successes. And right now, that still includes something like Mass Effect, but it feels like we're in a world where maybe one day that doesn't even include that. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think Mass Effect is the last shot BioWare has at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, to talk about this story from the top, I think a lot of the reporting that came out of this last week was obviously focused on Dragon Age. And Dragon Age didn't sell. It's an unfortunate reality. It is true. But I think the positioning of EA's down financials just purely on Dragon Age when FIFA, let's just call it FIFA. Maybe, dude, I don't know. Maybe removing the branding from one of your highest earning and most iconic series for the last 30 years wasn't the best move. Yeah, sure.
You're right. I didn't even think about it.
I guess, yeah, I get it. You don't want to pay FIFA for the use of their rights, but I don't know, dude. If you're talking about, I don't know, maybe, what was it? EA Sports Football Club? Shit name.
Yeah, not fantastic.
Name.
No.
Terrible name. Anyway. And also, yeah, you're looking at, again, global uncertainty. But anyway, so yeah, the thing with Dragon Age is, I was disappointed by the game, don't get me wrong. But also, a lot of people did like it. And I think it is sad because the way that franchise has kind of, I don't know, I think it's gone now, right? There's no coming back to Dragon Age at this point.
That's what it seems like they are saying themselves, is we are not focusing on a game like that going forward. And
I mean, the writing was on the wall even when they said there's definitely going to be no DLC. Looking at, what was it, creative director John Epler, I was on Blue Sky and I saw that he'd already been moved to Skate. Corinne Bush left the company. A lot of developers left and they were having layoffs, and it was just the writing was on the wall there. And, it's sad. Game development is very difficult. That game took 10 years. It went through multiple iterations. By all accounts, it sounds like a miserable, not completely miserable, but like a challenging dev experience. And the fact that they managed to ship anything at all, always a miracle. But I think especially so with Dragon Age. And with EA, I mean, Apex is in its 20-something season. And like coming up, they have Black Panther. What else? Sim stuff. I mean, I'm also intrigued to see how much
that Iron
the
Man
Sims
game as well. I think, yeah.
Oh, and because Marvel's the
yeah.
I don't know. It's not the same environment for Marvel as it was when those games got signed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do a Spider-Man, Spider-Man sells very well, but not everything's Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm also like, I'm really intrigued to see about this the Sims stuff. So again, by all accounts, they released the Legacy Collection of Sims 1 and Sims 2. That's incredible because, Sims 1 has never been available digitally. I don't think Sims 2 has been either. And unfortunately, they've kind of whiffed it. The subreddit on fire at the moment because
I'm just not surprised. God, I remember I talked about this last week when it got announced, and I'm like, I'm going to wait to see what that community has to say about this. And here we are.
It just, I've got a code. I need to play it to see for myself. But like a lot of people just saying straight up, they just can't play it. Like the game just crashes. And
the whole
it's
point
kind
was
of
to
miserable.
get to working on Windows 10 and 11, and it doesn't work on Windows 10 and 11.
Yeah, and I mean, look, taking the crown for the most unplayable Sims game from The Sims 3. Am I right?
Yeah,
That's a little Sims joke there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It is that kind of AAA bubble contracting / popping, and EA still making a buttload of money.
Yeah, and I think
still making a buttload of money, and then Battlefield is this year, so we'll see how that one does. I'm really intrigued to see how people react to Battlefield because it feels like, I mean, what was the last Battlefield game that really hit?
It was Battlefield 1, which I think was 2018, 2017. And that one did not hit like 4, as Nilek points out in chat. 4 hit much harder than even 1 did.
Yeah,
but 1 did very well. And then after that we had Battlefield 5, which missed, and then Battlefield 2042, which missed even more. And I think part of that is they have a hard time figuring out how to present Battlefield in the first place and how to make it feel fresh and like essential. And also, it's just
police one they did. Hardline.
Yeah, Hardline, yeah.
Oh, God.
And then it's like these are $70 games. $70 multiplayer shooters. 2042 is only a multiplayer shooter, no campaign. And there are other ways for people to play online multiplayer shooters for free. And, we just talked about, Marvel not really popping off. Well, it does pop off if it's a free-to-play
unless
shooter.
It's Rivals.
With very, yeah, of course. Very attractive character designs, and it's free, and anyone could try it, and everyone understands how to play it because everyone played Overwatch. Like, there are some ways to make that stuff work, for sure. Going back to what Andrew Wilson said about Dragon Age, one of the things he said that the players need and why they didn't, connect with this game on a broader way is they want shared worlds, which...
don't.
I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to say there, although I think if I had to bet, I would say I think he's saying, with this game actually should have been online cooperative live service game in the first place. That's not
the point of Dragon Age.
It's also just not the problem with Dragon Age. The problem was it was too smoothed down. It was too polished because they had this online live service game that they were trying to turn into an RPG, and they didn't have time to sort of build up new bones. They had to just shave off all the bones they didn't want anymore. And so you're left with an uninteresting product at the end of the day. And
that makes me nervous about Mass Effect. I mean, I've been nervous about Mass Effect. And I'm one of those people who really enjoyed Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, don't get me wrong. I remember they put it in Inquisition, I didn't even touch it. They tried to do the same thing, but I mean, BioWare games, it's the story, it's your story through that character. I am the Grey Warden, I am the hero for Eldon, I am Shepard. I don't want to have that shared experience with someone else. It'll be like, It's also baffling to me because, Baldur's Gate 3 did so well. There is clearly a market for those people who want that single player experience. So for him to say people want this shared world thing, I think it's such bullshit.
Yeah, and I think like there's no chance he's talking about like the kind of shared gameplay you can do in Baldur's Gate 3, right? Like that's not what he means when he's talking about this.
He means lobbies. He means anything you can jam microtransactions into.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's the assumption I'm making as well. But it's like, no, Baldur's Gate 3 is a shared world experience technically. And if he's talking about that, fantastic. I don't think anyone thinks he's talking about that.
No. I mean, having seen what EA's been up to for the last 15 years, you can definitely read between the lines there.
Yep, that's right. And reading between the lines of all this stuff is, no more Dragon Age. That Mass Effect could be a very different thing. They already talked about reimagining development of that game. You know what? Hang on, right. Please. My prediction for Mass Effect. You are a miscellaneous N7 Marine, and you get sent on strike missions around the galaxy. That's the game. Yeah.
It's going to be a live service bullshit game.
It's going to be a Division / Destiny sort of thing. Yeah.
But you also, they will have to have recruitment missions to build up a squad. But yeah, I think that's going to be it. Yeah.
At this point, I'm toning down my expectations and excitement for Mass Effect 5. So
because they're not showing. Obviously they don't want to say if it's Shepard's going to be back or whatever, but the fact that Liara is there, Liara makes me think that she's going to be some kind of faction leader.
Yeah.
And you go to her and you get missions from her.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they'll do with key people from Mass Effect who could be alive still at that point. Obviously some of them will be dead, but Asari lived for 1,000 years.
Yep. I think
I bummed myself out.
Yep, there it is. There it is, everybody.
My hypothetical scenario, and I bummed myself out. Yes, Bungus is right. Liara is the Shadow Broker. So yeah, that's the yep.
There you go. EA had other stuff to say. In fact, that they talked a little bit about Switch 2. I don't know if they're hooking their wagon to Switch 2, but they're definitely hey, we know investors like to hear Switch 2 right now. It's one of the things that, when investors talk to their analysts are all saying, hey, Switch 2 and GTA 6, those are things that are going to turn around this industry. So EA saying, hey, that the EA Sports FC and Madden could find real energy on Switch 2. I wouldn't take that to read now. EA is going to be all in on this system. But that is something that Wilson said. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Electronic Arts has spoken about its potential support for Switch 2 and name-checked franchises like Madden and EA Sports FC. Now, FIFA did come out to the Switch consistently throughout that entire thing, throughout its entire life. Madden never did. So that is a sign of okay, they're going to try something. And I think we get at least a Madden on there in the first year. We'll see how that does. But I don't know. I feel trying to make I think My Sims Cozy Bundle, they mentioned that as well. That did very well, better than they expected. And I think part of it is it sold really well on Switch. And it's maybe you should be making games for Switch
in the homes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is as well, though, let's not forget that the FIFA port, Switch port is notoriously dreadful.
Yes.
Leading to IGN doing one of the funniest things I've ever seen them do, which was, because I think the line was, because EA has just copy pasted their game from last year's game, we're going to copy paste last year's review and just change the number. So
yep.
Yeah.
And it's just a roster update every year. That's all that game is. And Switch 2 will have more power. They probably will update it for Switch 2, but then I don't think they'll update it after that. They'll kind of do the same thing. That's the kind of token support the Switch gets from EA. There was that period where they did I think put Burnout Paradise Remaster on the Switch, and they had a handful of other games come to it.
Tales of Kenzera came out there too, right?
Yeah, yeah. See, some of the EA partner games do come to the Switch. Yeah. They actually tend to do pretty well on the Switch. I think It Takes Two sold very well on the Switch. I think it's on there.
Oh, I mean, It Takes Two sold bafflingly well. I love that game, but I didn't expect it to be a 20 million seller.
20 million. Apparently, a big part of that is China, but I think it's half. So even if like you take out like China falling in love with this game for whatever reason, apparently legit divorce is huge in China right now. Apparently, that was the reasoning that was said in some story somewhere.
What?
Yeah,
China's hottest trend: divorce,
separation. Even if you take that out, 10 million copies everywhere else in the world, still super impressive. So yeah,
it's a great game. I loved it. I still not played it. Yeah, I had a good time. Oh, mate, you should play it. You should stream it with like Dan.
Yeah, I think I went
actually, because you can't you have to talk to get through stuff.
So maybe not Dan.
No, I think you should play it with Dan.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, a married couple.
Oh, damn it. Damn it. Yes. God damn it. All right. There's still one more from EA here. EA CEO says a more meaningful update of Apex Legends is in development. This is from Sophie McAvoy at gi.biz. Despite performing in line with expectations, net bookings for Apex Legends were down year over year during EA's Q3 fiscal year 25. EA CEO Andrew Wilson reflected on the franchise's future during the earnings call Q&A, where he laid out the firm's plans to implement changes to improve Apex Legends, including the idea of Apex 2.0. This is a change. This is different than what they were doing with Apex Legends just a few months ago, just maybe longer than that. Who knows what happened internally, but the whole idea was, let's cancel the Titanfall Legends stuff that we're working on because we don't want to invest in Apex Legends because we don't think that investing in it will be worth the return that we will get. So instead, let's just let it slowly dwindle and do minimum investment and let that money sort of just keep creeping in from a legacy audience while we figure out something new years down the line. Now EA Football Club is underperforming, and there's the rest of the EA publishing division that does stuff like Dragon Age doesn't have a lot of answers. I think they are panicking and being like, we got to figure something out with Apex Legends. Let's go back there and try to like rejuvenate that. And I'm just kind of furious. It's like, well, why did you cancel the Titanfall stuff in the first place?
The one thing people have been excited about.
It's so infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, that's the video games industry at the moment, right? It's just infuriating.
Yep. They're all frightened of everything. They're frightened of spending money on investing in ideas, and then they're frightened when they see their shadow when just one thing underperforms, and they just completely change and the EA's flip-flop back and forth from like, we're supporting single player games, live service, single player, live service. We've seen them do that a half dozen times now over the last 15, 20 years. And it's just, okay, at a certain point, you guys are not deciding, you don't have a vision for what you need to be. And so you're just reacting. And so you are doomed to just eventually fail, because that's the only thing that can happen if you are always just reacting to things instead of deciding this is what EA is and this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, I want them to remake Dead Space 2.
Yeah.
That Dead Space remake was so good.
Yep. And they definitely considered it. The whole idea of the Dead Space remake was, hey, let's just like restart this. And if things go really well, we will maybe do a new take on Dead Space 2. It wasn't going to be, it was never going to be an exact remake. But yes, there was definitely something they considered. And then they knew very early on, pretty much right, even before the game came out, it just wasn't tracking the way they needed it to.
Yeah.
Pre-orders and the way they wanted it to.
But it bangs. Oh, man.
Yep.
Maybe I'll replay that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I started that and I had some issues with it on my PC, and so I didn't see it through. That'd be a fun one to play. Yeah.
I played it on PlayStation, and the audio design in that game is outrageously good.
Yep.
Like, I had headphones on the whole time. It was so good.
All right.
Anyway.
Yep, no worries. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Capcom had their little showcase yesterday. Not a ton from that, but we got a few tidbits, so we'll talk about that right after this. All right, we're back into it, and we're talking about Capcom. Monster Hunter Wilds Open Beta 2 starts later this week. Offers bonuses for the full game. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Capcom has shared details on the second open beta for Monster Hunter Wilds, due to start later this week. Open Beta Test 2 will be available across PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam, and will take place over the next 2 weekends, February 7th through the 10th, and then February 14th through the 17th. So now you have plans for Valentine's Day. Ahead of the game's full release on February 28th, 2025, we held an open beta test in November 2024, Capcom says. In response to requests from players who were unable to participate the first time or simply wish to play again, we've decided to hold a second open beta test. Now, this game is coming out later this month. So this is definitely one of the tests that's like half marketing, half final check on this game before it goes live. And I'm excited. I think I'm going to try to get into this, and maybe we'll try to play it on the website. If we don't play it like for this UPF, maybe next week's UPF. That's kind of the general plan right now.
Jan got activated there.
Yeah, there he is. Let's go. Yeah, so I'm hoping we can make that happen because I'm ready for some Monster Hunter Wilds. How about you, Lucy?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, because one of these weekends is also the Elden Ring network test.
That's right. Yeah, God, okay. It's going to be
so, I mean, no gamer has plans around Valentine's Day. Yeah, I'm intrigued, because, like, I have never really been a big Monster Hunter person, but I did enjoy what I played of World back in, 2017 or whatever, when it came out. I played with my buddies. And it was one of those games where it was just like a good hangout game. And so I'm really intrigued about Wilds, because everyone I know who's seen it or just been playing it or, even just watching any of the Capcom stuff have been really into it. So maybe I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for that live service game, to fill that Overwatch hole. Like, this is how bad I'm doing right now. I've been watching 2016, 2017 Overwatch videos because I want to recapture that magic.
Oh no, you're down.
Shout
bad.
out to Salty Fish. Yeah.
I mean, I'm in a similar space where it's like, I think this is the time that I just throw myself into Monster Hunter, and hopefully we could just make a ton of stuff with that. That'd be fun.
But then there's also like Pirate Yakuza coming out, and Avowed, and a bunch of other stuff, and I'm just like, there's just so much going on. I need to, someone said we need to do a wellness check. I do need to try Rivals. I do.
Oh, you haven't even tried it. Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
No, I mean, look, I've been moving, right, and I have a lot more stuff than I thought.
That's
Jan, I will play with you.
Jan's really into it. He's been playing a lot on his own time. But every time we play it on the site as well, it's a lot of fun. So yeah. And it's one of those games recently where, I'll get done with one of my late night shows, and we'll be in the Discord chatting, and someone's like, well, I'm starting Marvel Rivals, and then everyone's immediately playing Marvel Rivals. So it's got that infectious nature to it. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely want it. I definitely want to try it. But also, right now, I'm big into my crochet again.
Ooh.
I'm crocheting a sweater. So
it's how long did it take you to get to a point where you could crochet a sweater?
Crocheting off and on for a long time. Crochet is actually once you get into it, big thing, you gotta have the right yarn.
Right.
Because so I crocheted a doll the other day, and now I'm crocheting a sweater. So basically, I haven't been playing a video game because I've become an 80-year-old woman.
Yeah, it happens to everybody. It'll come for us all in the end. So you're just getting ahead of the curve. A few other tidbits from this. Capcom Fighting Collection 2 release date is set for May 16th specifically. That's pretty exciting. There's a good trailer. I wasn't watching this Capcom showcase, and this trailer popped up on like the Nintendo YouTube channel, and I watched them. Just like, hell yeah. I didn't even notice the date. I'm like, these games just look awesome. There's Power Stone and Plasma Sword, I think. Power Stone 2. And then, of course, Capcom versus SNK is really the big number there that everyone's going to be very excited about. All these games have rollback netcode, so I'm excited. And May 16th, not that far away, especially considering they just released that Marvel versus Capcom Fighting Collection just recently. So Capcom really charging ahead. I wonder if they because before they released the Marvel versus Capcom collection, they announced this. I wonder if they just have another collection ready to go, whether it's a fighting game collection or maybe the Mega Man Legends collection that I know some people out there have been clamoring for. Capcom can absolutely keep getting away with doing these when you look at hey, their new games and their full-on remakes are so good that everyone just like, hey, of course, if you want to also make money by selling us your old games, we will line up to do that. We just feel good about the stuff you're doing.
Congrats to fighting game players, you know?
Yeah, exactly. They deserve a win here and there.
They really do.
And then Capcom shared new Onimusha details and confirms a PS2 remaster is coming. This is from Andy Robinson of VGC. Capcom has revealed new details on Onimusha, Way of the Sword, and confirmed that a remastered version of the PS2 title Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny, will be released this year. Speaking during a live stream on Tuesday, Way of the Sword's producer said the 2026 title would focus on 3 core concepts: compelling characters, including a new protagonist, the setting of Kyoto, and the ultimate sword fighting action. And then here's the quote. To add some detail to what we've shown in this video, in this game, we are taking Onimusha's signature sword fighting action and dark fantasy elements and using Capcom's latest technology to make this new game as captivating as possible. I wonder if that means... I was never an Onimusha player.
Me neither.
I was like, oh, that's the samurai game from the Resident Evil people. And of course, I had a deeper relationship with Capcom than that, but it's just how I thought about it at the time. When you think about Capcom's latest technology, their latest push has been open world versions of the RE engine. They have a trio of games that are doing that. First was Dark Arisen. What's the actual game called?
Dragon's Dogma.
Dragon's Dogma. I wanted to say Deep Down. It's a different DD game. Dragon's Dogma. Then they are doing it with Monster Hunter Wild. It's more open world than that franchise has been before. And then apparently the Resident Evil 9 will be the end of that trio and will also be more open world than Resident Evil's been before. So this is them kind of like expanding what the RE engine can do. I wonder if they're kind of talking about that for Onimusha as well. Maybe that has a history of being open world. Again, I've never really played those games. So
yeah, me either.
Okay. Let's kind of clean up the rest of the news here. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 off to an enormous start on Steam. This comes from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. After years of development, the RPG Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 from Warhorse Studios is out now, and it's putting up huge numbers on Steam. The game has exceeded 150,000 concurrent users on the platform just hours after launch, and it's the #1 top-selling game on Steam in the US right now. The game is also available on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. It's a very big number for a new launch game, especially for one that is single player. Typically, a new game from a major publisher doing very well. These are just general numbers, but around 80 to 90,000 concurrent players. So this is up there with some of the biggest releases recently. People really like their open world RPGs, and if you can make one that resonates with them, they'll show up, and here they are. I wonder if there's like part of Bethesda that's like, man, why can't we just get out our Elder Scrolls games a little bit faster? Because it feels like it's slipping out from their fingers in a lot of ways.
We've got to see something from 6 this year, right?
But when can that game possibly really come out? I guess we're 2025 now. Starfield was 2 years ago. So I think, they could remind us that they're making it.
Maybe 27.
27 is kind of feels like the earliest we could actually get that game, but they could remind us about it now. Yes.
Yeah, it would be good to see something that's not that 10-second trailer from 2018 or whatever it was.
Yep, just a disgustingly long time ago. I have not played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I was playing Civ 7 instead over the weekend. I have it installed now. I'm going to give it a shot. I definitely, I was telling Mike last night on one of our shows, I don't need a lot of reasons to like skip over a game these days because there's so much to play, so much that I have in my backlog. So, the weird vibes around the developer, true or not, or whatever, there's definitely some that are true. I get weird vibes from them. That is true. That's been enough for me to mostly ignore this game through the preview period, but it got very good reviews. And a lot of people work on this game that aren't the people giving me the weird vibes. So I'm going to give it a shot and we'll see. My expectation is I bet this is an overly realistic take on the genre that won't actually do a ton for me, but I'll try it for myself and see. Any interest in this for you?
So I was talking about this on FPS with Ralph and Jake, and they had both been playing and they were both into it. But they were saying, I said to them, do you think I would like it? And they both just went, no, it's really, they said it's like slow. Max Scoville, he said he was like, it kind of had that Red Dead 2, like deliberateness and slowness. And if you need something, Like, as in, like, I don't think it's like a complete like apples to apples comparison, but it's just like in terms of, things are laborious, things take time to do. But everyone I know who's played it has had fun with it. But you know, things that are more my wheelhouse: Avowed, Pirate Yakuza.
Right.
I mean, Wonder Stop is coming, hopefully, I think soon. So like, there are more Lucy games. I have it. I'll download it.
And we
Maybe
all
when
know
I'm
what
finished with The
Wander
Sims.
Stop is. In fact, I can't stop talking. I'm looking it up right now.
Bro, it's
I
the
know.
new game from the Stanley Parable guy.
Oh, right.
With,
Yes, this got brought up
yeah.
during Fantasy Critic, and I'm like, oh shit, I should have taken that.
Yes.
That's going to do very well.
Yes. And so I'm really stoked for that game, and that's coming out. And yeah, February is an absolute mess.
It's a
and
mess.
then so is March. So
Yeah. So I'm gonna try Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That Red Dead Redemption 2 comparison. Well, I'm sure not perfect. I bet that's actually kind of where I end up feeling about the game, unless it's like got some options to like really let the player get messy and do their own thing and kind of throw a wrench in the works. That's the kind of stuff I like in an open world RPG. And we'll see if it can support that or not. And really, if it doesn't, that doesn't mean that I will think it's a bad game. It just means it won't be for me. Wreckfest 2 hits early access this March. I know there's a lot of Wreckfest fans in this community. We've played that before on the site.
Heads.
Yep, Wreck fans. And this is from Anthony Kamau at Dual Shockers. Wreckfest 2 hits Steam early access in March, focusing on chaotic gameplay and prioritizing PC modding communities. Early access trailer shows new physics engine and derby mode, with plans for a career mode that adapts to player style. Hey, yeah, that sounds great. I want more of that. We'll get in there and do some Wreckfest 2 immediately as soon as it hits early access. That will be a lot of fun. That's good. Yeah, just a fun game to do dumb stuff in. Like, hey, let's get 50 people to drive around this bowl and just see what happens. Yeah.
Just see what happens.
And then finally, Xbox confirms it's bringing 2 real-time strategy games to PS5 this year. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. Xbox has announced plans to release Age of Mythology Retold and Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition for PlayStation 5. The real-time strategy games will hit Sony's console this year alongside the launch of new expansions for both titles, which are currently available on Xbox and PC. They're doing everything. And this is not even like, oh my God, I can't believe this franchise is coming to PlayStation. This is just like, oh, these games have been out for a minute, just like Forza, and Forza's coming to PlayStation. So it's like, they're going to mine the backlog here, the back catalog, I should say, and bring a ton of stuff over to PlayStation. And I think that's exciting.
I think so too.
It's just done. Like, we could just accept that this is the way things are, and PlayStation fans could start getting on board with some of these franchises, and that increases the likelihood we get more of these games going forward, right?
And that's always the good thing. Rising tide, etc. Yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah, I think that they have finally accepted it, like a lot of that fan base, because it's like, with Forza coming, and it's like there was not that much of a backlash compared to like what it might have been a year or so ago. So yeah, do you think like a Halo Master Chief Collection does launch on Switch and PS5 this year?
Yeah,
I think so too.
I think it would make a lot of sense for them to do that. I would like to see that happen. Although, to give Xbox its flowers right now, I never used to enjoy the Xbox interface, and I went on to play something the other day, and I was like, damn, I think they figured it out finally.
Really,
and I mean, I will say, they really refined it, and I also think the onboarding experience for setting up a new Xbox, for transferring data and stuff from an old Xbox, I think they don't really get enough credit for that. And I was kind of really pleasantly surprised about that when I was playing through my Xbox. And I mean, like I said, I'm in my PC era, but I was on the Xbox the other day, and I was like, damn, they did stuff here.
Yeah. I think that the benefit there was they didn't make a ton of changes from Xbox One to Xbox Series S and X. So part of it is they were able to refine it. Part of it is people were able to really figure out what they didn't like about it and voice that to Xbox. And Xbox was able to respond to that, where PlayStation, they're like, let's just completely let's change everything. And really it's just a new coat of paint on how the PS4 stuff worked. But they just moved things around. So they kind of had to start from scratch. So while it works fine, I think people were just slightly annoyed by that, because it's like, it's just different to be different. And at a certain point, That's not as exciting as it once was, where it's like, well, I got a new console. I want it to feel different. These days, I just kind of want it to work.
I just want all my stuff to be there.
Yep, and you're right. Now it's much easier to navigate that on Xbox than it once was.
Yeah,
and then at the same time, I'm also just more used to it. All right, we got a poll question. Let's get to that. Actually, real quick before we do that, I was going to talk about the USPS thing, where like, hey, they're not going to take parcels from China and Hong Kong. They've already reversed that decision. That was like announced yesterday. And then
I didn't even see that.
Yes,
oh my God.
Within 12 hours, they reversed that decision. And that, I only bring this up because this would have affected smaller distributors that sell items from China. Now, like if you're like an Ambernick, you're probably shipping like big pallets to the United States. And then, if you're Analog, you're kind of just like having warehouses here store that and shipping it from here to get around this. Or, a lot of them use DHL, things that just don't go through the USPS at all usually. Or if they do go through the USPS, just kind of they brush by it in certain areas, maybe in the last mile. But this was like still going to affect like smaller Chinese handhelds, things like that. RetroTink probably would have been hit by this. A lot of things, all that new stuff being made by Taki Udon, who's like going to make the cheaper version of the Mister, or has made that, and is going to make the cheaper version of the RetroTink. All that stuff would have just caused a bunch of headaches. And within 12 hours, they've already reversed it. So
unbelievable. You wonder why I've taken up crochet again, by the way. It's literally so I'm not online.
Yep. That's really the only, because like you can't keep up with it. And you can't let's go march and try to do something about the USPS. By the time you get out there, they've already changed their mind. It is overwhelming. And the uncertainty is just the only certainty, is that no one's going to know anything for sure. And that's still going to have just the fact that they were willing to do this and then reverse it so quickly is still going to have an effect on how people decide to do business. So it's not like, we're in the clear or anything like that. But still, it was just a baffling thing to witness. All right. That poll question. Let's see. Elden Ring Night Rain is a roguelike. Does that make you more or less excited? Let me bring that up so everyone can see it here. I'm going to vote yes, more excited, and then we'll get the results by flipping over here. Elden Ring, Night Rain, let's see, 41% say they're more excited by that, 59% say less excited. And I think that's right, because just, a lot of people don't have good taste. So what can you do about it?
What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? I personally, I think that is a really good way to kind of do another Elden Ring so quickly. Is just kind of take this and they say that they kind of stumbled on this idea themselves and also got inspired by some other games, so it's still going to be a very FromSoft game, I think.
I am just so excited to see what the bingo brawlers and the challenge speedrunners they do with it.
Yep,
because that is my shit. I'm so excited.
Yep, I think it's going to be one of those things that's going to have a lot of interesting meta games kind of built on top of it by the community. And I'm looking forward to it. And just like the idea, it's single player. Yeah, it supports that. But then you can play it in trios, but you can't play, co-op with just one or two people. That's just a very odd thing. I got to see what they are actually trying to do here, what they're trying to accomplish. That could just be traditional FromSoft weirdness, though. They're also a weird company. All right. New poll question we'll get to here in a second. I haven't written that down in the doc for Sean or Jan, whoever puts that up. I'll get that for you guys here in a second. But in the meantime, Lucy James Games, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, if that's something you want, or what you have going on, all that good stuff.
You can find me everywhere, Lucy James Games, lucyjames.games. So we have Jeff's Bizarre Adventure coming up. I believe it's going out today. And we have started Berserk.
Whoa, really?
It's out now. It's out now, according to Jan. Thank you, Jan. We are making Jeff Baclar watch Berserk.
Shit, I don't know if I can live in a world where Jeff Baclar's seen Berserk and I haven't. Okay.
So I'm
gonna watch along.
It's 1997, and it's a kind of interesting one to record because previously, obviously, when we were doing JoJo's, both John and Tam had seen it. I had no idea, and obviously Jeff had never seen an anime before. This time we have John has seen all of the Berserk and read them all. Same with Tam. I've only ever read Berserk. I've never seen
the anime.
I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never seen it all the way through. And Jeff has
He can't read.
genuinely no idea at all. And so
I also
yeah.
don't have any idea, but I see the look in people's eyes who have engaged with Berserk. And so I have that. I think that's a pretty good indicator of what that thing does to people.
It is. I mean, yeah, it's one of the greatest pieces of fiction I think ever written. I have it tattooed on my leg. I
think I might just read it first.
I would read it.
Yeah,
I will also tell you that there is a lot of shit in there. Like,
let's fucking go. Yeah, I'll handle it.
do not. Yeah, I would say like don't have the kiddos around.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like even when you're watching it, it is also, you know, like they've toned down a bunch, but there is certainly some trigger warning. Yes, is basically the answer. But it's fantastic. It's unbelievable. As soon as I read it, there was one specific panel that I knew I was immediately going to get tattooed just because it was so beautiful and like in the context of the story. I loved it. Yeah, go read Berserk. Go watch Berserk. Yep. I'm getting a tattoo tonight. I am so stoked.
Tonight? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to share with the class, or you want to like keep it a surprise, or keep it a private?
It's a Peanuts one. It's with Lucy Van Pelt.
Oh.
No, so it's Lucy, and she looks really despondent.
Okay.
And she says, I'm torn between the desire to create and the desire to destroy.
That's fantastic. Okay, I like that a lot. That's very good.
Yeah, and hopefully by the time I'm next on, I will have finished wallpapering.
Leave it. No, we like it now.
Honestly,
We've grown attached.
Honestly, I will say TikTok has given me an unearned sense of confidence when it comes to DIY projects.
Yep.
But like, so, you know,
it's looking
Max
good,
and I put this up. I hung this wallpaper up. Me.
Steph keeps asking me to do something with the wall in our bedroom. And we're like talking about faux brick or wallpaper. And now we're like, well, the faux brick will get dusty and wallpaper will be easier to clean.
Yeah.
So we're going to do wallpaper. Wallpaper's back in.
Peel and stick. Wallpaper is back in a big way.
Yep. Okay. All right. So you've given me the confidence as well. I'm sure I'll mess it up. But yeah, it's annoyingly well done, Lucy, as Jordan Mittler points out in chat.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was texting him yesterday going, look at my walls. Look at my walls.
All right. A new poll question. Do you think Halo Master Chief Collection launches on Switch and PlayStation 5 this year? We've given our answers, everybody. I'm curious to hear what you think. You can vote by going to youtube.com/@giantbomb. The community tab there will have the poll question. We'll read the results here on Game Mess Mornings on Giant Bomb tomorrow. Speaking of Giant Bomb, later today, it is Wednesday, so Blight Club is back. We will be watching Dan likely, quite possibly, finish up Drake of the 99 Dragons, which that was a real delight last episode. It got, like, he spent an hour on one level, which is what you always want to see at a certain point, especially after you breeze through the first part of that game. There's also a new Pickle Giraffe out if everyone wants to see that, an animated version of Blight Club.
Oh, that's so good.
It was very good. And then yeah. So tomorrow, voicemail dump truck. Friday, UPF. Yep. We're kind of shifting around what we might do for UPF, but I think if we can get Monster Hunter working, that's what I want to do.
Oh yeah.
And then like new Jeff's on the site now. On site now,
and then I'm on dump truck tomorrow. We got to do because someone suggested on Blue Sky to do Polite Club, where we play cozy games. We should figure that out. I
think we're gonna have a real opportunity to make stuff like that work much more frequently coming up pretty soon, everybody. So Polite Club, it is what it sounds like. Instead of a little bit different than Delight Club, where it's like, hey, here's a game I think you'll like. Polite Club's we'll just hang out, play cozy games, play fun stuff, play nice stuff.
Cozy game.
All right, and also the Blight Club boys would not be allowed on Polite Club is also apparently a rule.
That's true. Yeah,
the punishment has it's permanent. All right, Lucy James, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games. I super appreciate it.
Of course.
And thank
I'm gonna go blow my nose.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, let's make it. Everyone go blow your nose. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye. And I didn't mean Jordan Mindler when I said best audience.
No. But
all right, turning off YouTube. There we go.